or across the country. She was asking for them to be peaceful. Again, we are seeing them here tonight. So far, not violent. But as you mentioned, Tyre Nichols' mother saying that she hasn't been able to watch that video, says she hasn't been able to grieve the loss of her son. And it's just devastating for her to know that he was calling out for her just a few yards away from their home. David.
Stephanie Ramos from Memphis at this hour. Stephanie, thank you. We should point out that Ben Crump, the attorney for the family, earlier today, as you look at the peaceful protests out of Memphis at this hour, earlier today, Ben Crump said it doesn't matter if the officer is a black officer, a Hispanic officer, or a white officer. It is the culture that allows them to think they can do this to Tyre. Those words from Ben Crump. I want to bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, for his thoughts on what you've seen, Pierre, play out here in Memphis tonight.
David, I've had the opportunity to be out with police on numerous law enforcement actions. It's clear that this is not police work. This is brutal. And law enforcement officials today, in charging these men with second-degree murder and also kidnapping, think about that, kidnapping. They're essentially saying they took this man against his own will. And to see him punched and beaten and tased repeatedly, again, this does not resemble anything that is legitimate law enforcement work. And I can tell you tonight, law enforcement across this country in cities, major cities across this country, are hoping that the pain that the people in Memphis are feeling and in cities across this country, that they can use it constructively to peacefully protest for change. In many cities, police, unfortunately, are viewed as the occupying force. This will only reinforce that. David, I spoke with a very senior law enforcement official tonight who is aware of this video, and he said this could set law enforcement back for many years, that the notion that they're there to protect and serve is destroyed by images like this, David.
And Pierre, you and I were talking earlier today on this notion, before we go here, on this notion of what Ben Crump said, that it does not matter the color of your skin, whether you're a black officer, Hispanic officer, white officer, that this, in their words, is brutality. This awful police beating that now is being seen by so many people. But he also said, given the speed with which authorities acted in this case, that he and the family hopes that this now will be the blueprint moving forward in other cases like this, where there exists extreme and graphic police body cam.
Right. The point he's making is that in so many of the other cases, there have been weeks and months to go by before any action was taken by the part of prosecutors or the police in some cases. And he's saying when you have a video that is this clear cut, you have to, for the sake of the community, take quick action. And that we will see if that will be the standard going forward. It just remains to be seen, David.
Pierre Thomas in Washington tonight. Pierre, thank you. And we're just getting word from the White House at this hour that the president is deeply pained, outraged after having had the opportunity to now view this video himself, the police video now released in Memphis. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com, and of course we'll have much more later tonight on Nightline. For many of you, World News Tonight continues, and in the West we'll have another edition of World News Tonight for you, given the late developments here today. We'll see you in the West shortly. Good night.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
No mother, no mother, no mother should go through what I'm going through right now. No mother to lose their child to the violent way that I lost child. I still haven't had time to grieve yet. I'm still dealing with the death of my son. This was not supposed to happen. My son was supposed to be with me today.
Tyre Nichols' mother saying she could not bring herself to watch the body camera footage. She's been told it shows her son screaming out for her.
For me to find out that my son was calling my name and I was only feet away and did not even hear him. You have no clue how I feel right now. No clue.
Tonight, the attorney for one of the fired officers, Desmond Mills, saying the video will likely be terrible, but that not all of the officers played an equal role here, defending his client.
You say that they weren't equal partners that night. What do you mean by that?
Everybody played their own role, and I suspect that you're going to see that some officers crossed the line. But it wasn't Desmond Mills Jr. who crossed the line.
Tyre Nichols' stepfather, Rodney Wells, saying the family is satisfied with the charges that include second-degree murder once those charges were explained to the family. Tonight, both parents are asking for prayers for their son and their family and for any protests to be peaceful.
We want peace. We do not want any type of uproar. We do not want any type of disturbance. We want peaceful